18.
Well, markets have taken a bit of an uptick in the last few minutes. Sabero Organics is the company that I'm talking about, up in yesterday's trade, up in today's trade, and we are now joined by Mr. Sumit Chuganee, the Executive Vice Chairman of Sabero Organics, Gujarat. So thanks so much for joining in.
Thank you.
If you can just take us through the kind of performance that you will see from, you've seen robust performance in Q1. Sure. How does the rest of the year look like, considering the fact that you're also coming out with extended capacities in the next quarter?
Right. The extended capacity is only going to come at the end of next quarter, but we see the same kind of upward growth. In the current quarter, the July-September quarter, we expect about a 40% growth as compared to the first quarter, which is the last quarter. So we expect the next 2 quarters to be at 30-40% growth. At the end of December, our new capacities come about, and then we see a little bit more growth after that. So we expect that once it starts in December, it will be another 3 to 6 months until they are fully absorbed and we get the full benefit of that expansion.
What's the quantum leap in sales or revenues after the expansions kick in?
At the current sales prices, at 90% capacity utilization, we expect that with the new capacity, it will be about 1,000 crores to 1,100 crores is what we can get, assuming you can sell, assuming you can produce. But with the nameplate capacity at 90%, 1,000 crores is what we can derive out of it after they're fully absorbed.
Have you seen any, I mean, your quarter results don't show any impact of margin pressure at all. In fact, your margins have improved.
Sure.
But would cost pressures catch up at all? I mean, especially raw material.
Well, I think the raw material prices have already gone up by 50%, 100%. I mean, it's quite crazy out there. And we have been able to pass it on up till now. Again, you know, we are a very seasonal business. It depends on the climate. If the monsoon is really bad, then, you know, then it's a little more difficult to pass on. But so far we've been successful in doing it. I think it's a combination of the demand supply has also been a little tight, so you're able to pass it on a little more easily. But I think it would be pretty good times for the agrochemical industry, because it's part of it is the India consumption, and more than 50 to 60% is outside of India. And, you know, where it's not raining, it's raining somewhere, so it evens out.
And how does the performance of, well, I understand you have 3 international subsidiaries. You also have a JV with a Brazilian company. Right. So how does that picture look like, apart from the Indian ops?
Right. See, the only really subsidiary or joint venture which is really operational on the ground is Brazil, where we have about 30 people on the field selling. We have an office in Sao Paulo and in Belo Horizonte. And the other subsidiaries are really holding companies right now, because our business is like the pharma. You have registrations, and you need to have a local office to hold the registrations. So they are really shelf companies at the current time.
Right.
And probably the next country that we will operationalize it would be Argentina. Right. But Brazil is where we have people on the ground. We have a full-fledged office. It's the agrochemical market in Brazil is 4 times the Indian market. And that's where we're going to concentrate on, and you know, putting our people on the ground.
And your Q1, I mean, just coming out of the numbers for Q1, you've clocked it close to 80-odd crores, if I'm not wrong. What's the guidance for FY09 and possibly even going ahead in terms of numbers, top line and bottom line?
Well, top line, I'm going to give it a little broad kind of, but you know, 400 to 500 would be the top line for the current financial year. And bottom line would be, you know, similar in terms of the numbers of the first quarter. Maybe 30 would be the bottom line is what we are projecting. And as I said, from the next financial year, once our new expansion really gets into place, you know, 1,000 crores is what we can achieve. But again, for next financial year, I would say it would be a reasonable growth, and it all depends how successful we are in, you know, getting the full product out and selling off the new expansion. But I think we have a fairly good track record in commissioning plants in time.
Great.
Okay, Sumit, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, one bit of macro detail that came up in the last 10 minutes or so, the direct tax collections have gone up by 47% in the April-July period. Now, that's a fairly decent number coming in from the macro picture. A bit of a salutary impact on the bond markets, because the expectation was that the government may overborrow in the second half because of its fiscal responsibilities of whatever, pay commission and farm waiver. But that healthy tax collection is important. All right, with that we'll take a break. We'll come back and focus on the primary markets after this break.